Hi, I'm Alicia from Padme's Playhouse Quilting, and today we are going to talk about hanging sleeves for your quilts. So what I have here is a wall hanging that I've just finished quilting, and since it's a wall hanging, I want it to hang on the wall. So I'm going to show you how to do that. It's really simple once you know what to do. So let's get started. I have this purple fabric as my background. So I just used the same fabric for my hanging sleeve because I kind of want it to blend in. You can use contrasting fabric, whatever you want, go for it. This is your project and your design. Just do whatever you want. I've seen some tutorials that say to cut the width of this sleeve at 8 inches, but I don't think I had that much fabric, so I ended up cutting this at 7 inches. But anyways, let's start at the beginning. What you're gonna do is you're gonna take your newly finished squared up quilt or wall hanging, whatever, and you're gonna measure the width of it. And so yeah, you're gonna measure the width of it, and then you're gonna subtract like an inch. Hang on, I forgot scissors. Okay, so yeah, you're gonna just measure the width, subtract an inch, and that's what you're gonna cut. So I'm just gonna go ahead and cut this. So that's gonna be the length of your piece is going to equal the width of your quilt. And then, yeah, like I said, I cut mine at 7 inches, but what you just want to make sure is we're going to be folding this hot dog wise, and we're going to be sewing that. So you just want to make sure that you have enough fabric that you can fit your rod or whatever you're using to hang your quilt in there. But first, what we're going to do is we're going to take both ends and we're just going to fold them 1/4 of an inch, and then we're just going to sew so we have some nice finished ends when we're done. So I'm just going to do that real quick. Now you have both of your ends sewn, so now we're going to fold it, like I said, hot dog wise. That's what they used to always tell us in elementary school. And right sides together, and we're going to sew a seam all the way across. Okay, so I went ahead and sewed all the way down, making sure to backstitch on my starting and stopping areas, just because it is going to be supporting the weight of your quilt, and you don't want those seams to rip out and your quilt ends up on the floor. That would be awful. So yeah, I sewed it all together. I turned it right side out, and then I laid the seam in the middle, so it's right here, and I just went ahead and pressed it. And that's your hanging sleeve. Now all we have to do is attach it to our quilt. So what we're going to do is we are going to find the top of our quilt, and we're just going to lay it on there, centered. And this is going to go on as we sew our binding on. So, we're not going to start in that place to sew our binding on. We are going to start on another side, so we don't have to worry about connecting the ends of our binding and having to also worry about our hanging sleeve staying in place. So what I do is I just pin my hanging sleeve in place and then come around the side, and once I end up on this side, just being sure to take those pins out before I reach them. And then when you flip over your binding, or depending on how you do it, your hanging sleeve is going to be attached into your binding. And then after that, it's just a matter of tacking down the bottom part that is still loose on your hanging sleeve. And all you do for that is just whatever your preferred method of stitching it down without seeing it. Of course, this is going to have to be hand stitched, because if you machine stitch it on, it's going to go through every single layer of your quilt and it will show up on the front of your quilt. See, I just pinned my hanging sleeve on, and I'm going to attach the binding and everything, and when I come back I will show you what it looks like and show you how I stitch down the bottom part of my hanging sleeve. And then as soon as you get your binding completely on, you're done. You're good to go. So see, it's super simple. So I'm going to go and attach my binding, and I will be back. Okay, I'm back, and as you see, I have completely sewn on my binding. So now the next step and final step is just to sew on your hanging sleeve, or sew it down completely. Because if you leave it like this, you're going to put the bar in it and it's going to flip up, obviously. So the first thing that we want to do is we want to find a thread that matches the our backing color. And so I have one that's pretty close. And we're just going to thread our needle, and we're going to start at one end, and we're going to go inside this hanging sleeve, and we want to go inside of it first so it hides our little thread tail. We're going to go through like that. Now if you've ever sewn on binding by hand, it's going to be the same exact method. What you're going to do, sorry, I am doing this backwards right now. I should be starting at the other area, so bear with me. We're going to go in, being careful not to go through all the layers. We just want to go through the backing and the batting. We're going to take a little chunk like that, and then we're going to go back up into the hanging sleeve right in the bottom. Try to get a better shot of this. So it's right into the bottom, just like that. And we are going to continue this process, repeat until cry. Just kidding. We're just going to repeat this all the way down. If you have a big quilt, then you're probably going to have to rethread your needle a couple of times. Don't have too big of a quilt, because you probably shouldn't be hanging a giant king-size quilt, because there's going to be a lot of weight on that hanging sleeve. And as you're doing this, it's going to be pretty much invisible the thread is, as long as you have a matching thread color, or at least pretty close. If you're really good at hiding your stitches, you really don't even need a matching thread color. I know a couple of them, I didn't have the thread color to match, but you could still like barely see where I had taken my stitches. And it's just gonna sew that down. So when you put your bar in there, it's gonna anchor it to the quilt, and your hanging sleeve will be impossible to see when your quilt is hanging. So that's the process. After you're done with this, you are completely done and your quilt will be ready to hang. So thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you guys back soon. Hit like, hit subscribe, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.